The North Gauteng High Court in Pretoria has sentenced the man known as the Springs Monster to an effective 35 years in jail.
This after he was found guilty of attempted murder of his then 11-year-old son and raping his 16-year-old daughter in 2014. The man was also found guilty and sentenced for a plethora of charges, including child abuse as well as neglect.
Meanwhile, the mother of the children was handed a suspended 5-year sentence on the condition that she must undergo psychological therapy. The court found that she too was abused by the Springs Monster.
The North Gauteng High Court in Pretoria has just sentenced the man known as the Springs Monster to an effective 35 years in prison for a variety of charges related to the abuse of his 5 children. Now, that 35 years includes 10 years for the rape of the then 16-year-old daughter, also another 10 years for the attempted murder of the then 10-year-old, or rather 11-year-old son. But to get some reactions from the NPA here on this effective 35-year sentence for this man, I've got the spokesperson here, Pindi. Thank you very much for your time. We meet again. It's also related to child abuse. 35 years for accused number 1, known as the Springs Monster.
Yes, we are happy with the sentence as the NPA. Reason being, we believe that it will send a strong message to all the parents out there that they have a responsibility and an obligation to ensure the well-being of their children. As primary caregivers, that is their sole responsibility to take care of their children and not abuse them. And as for the mother, the court had to consider, the mother was sentenced to 5 years, a 5-year suspended imprisonment term. And we are happy as well with the suspension that the suspended sentence that she got. Reason being, the court had to consider that she too, as a mother, went through abuse from her husband. She too, as a mother, endured this trauma that the children went through. But the court still felt that she could have done more for these kids as a mother. She could have provided protection to the kids. She could have sought help for these kids. And again, this is a case that proves that collective efforts of community members working with law enforcement authorities, we can reach greater heights. Because we need to commend the neighbor who opened her door when the 11-year-old came seeking for help, and she ensured that this reaches to the police. The matter was reported, and then the investigating officer took over. Also did a sterling job in ensuring a conviction in this case. Our prosecutor, who prosecuted in this matter, had to detach her emotions, being a mother as well, but she had to detach and remain professional in doing her duties.
Okay, now let's talk about the kids. We know that they are put in a place of safety. And now, will the mother, who is now on a 5-year suspended sentence, be allowed to contact the kids? Do you know at this stage?
Well, the court did not make any ruling in terms of how the mother should now relate to these children. But obviously, what is of concern to us as the NPA is the well-being of these children. And having been moved from the care of their parents to receive help from other families who decided to adopt them, and others being in our places of safety, we believe that it is proper that these children first needs to heal from what has happened, because at this stage these children don't want to see their parents. These parents instilled so much hatred in these children. The children have taken a decision that they no longer regard them as their parents. This was contained in the victim impact statements of these children. So it will be improper then for the mother to make contact with these children at this stage. I believe that sometime in the future, when the children maybe are ready and have healed, they will mention if they still wish to see their parents or not.
All right, thank you very much for that. And just for more on the sentencing that we received today, the judgment, I have my colleague from the radio side, Lila Meknas. Thank you very much, Lila. You followed this case throughout, and the judge, before giving his sentencing here, spoke a lot about accused number 1, that we call the Springs Monster. That he showed a little sympathy, and he didn't take enough responsibility for his actions. Just talk to us about some of the judge's comments.
Yes, well, the judge relied a lot on the psychological report of clinical psychologist Bronwyn Stollards, who basically diagnosed accused number 1 as a psychopath and a sadist. In this report, accused number 1 indicated that he does not take any responsibility for his deeds. He blames the kids for being naughty, and that was the reason why he had to discipline them. And he also blames his wife, that she basically taunted him to be aggressive and that she was a bad mother because she didn't look after the house. The clinical psychologist also said that because he's a psychopath and has sadistic tendencies, the chances for rehabilitation is very slim, because this is not something that will disappear. It might get better with treatment, but he will remain a danger to the people in his close proximity. And the judge also said that the abuse the children suffered equated it with torture. He said these children were tortured by their parents. And he also said regarding the rape charge that accused number 1 said that his daughter, who was 16 years old at the time, seduced him. And the judge said he's never heard anything as ludicrous as that.
All right. Now let's talk about the mother, because we have some people here that were in the gallery that are not quite satisfied that accused number 2, being the mother, got this 5-year suspended sentence. Just talk to us about some of the concerns that some of the people here had regarding the mother.
Yes, some of the friends of accused number 1 said that they expected a long custodial sentence for accused number 1, but they are mad because accused number 2 did not get any jail time. They say they feel that she had enough time to ask for help. She could have asked anyone to help her, and that it sends a wrong message to people out there. Because if you are also being abused by your spouse, then you are innocent of the results and you only get a suspended sentence. So they really feel that she should have gone to jail. They also say that because the children in their affidavits that was presented to court asked that their mother also be sent to jail, that would have been an appropriate sentence, and that they feel she's not being punished for her role in the abuse of the children.
And we know that she's already engaged to another man?
Yes, she is engaged to another man. I spoke to him earlier. He said that the way he experienced her as a good wife, a loving person, he says she's very introverted and she has a very low self-esteem, but they are trying to work on that. He also said that they are trying to teach her to read and write. We do know that she's dyslexic, and that was one of the reasons she argued that she couldn't find help, because she didn't know how to read and write. But he said, this trial has taken its toll on her. She hardly sleeps at night. She cries a lot, and she would like to see her children again. He said that she desperately loves her children. She would like to see them again, but they don't know whether that will be possible.
And then did the court touch on that at all during this sentencing here?
The court didn't indicate whether they are allowed to see their children or not. I think the court left that in the hands of the social workers who's working with the children. We do know that the younger children are all with families, were placed with families, and that they are happy. In the affidavits, they said they are happy. They also said in the affidavits that they hate their parents. The boy said he wished he himself could kill his father. He wished his father would get hurt in jail the way his father hurt him. So the children made it very clear they do not want to see their children. The father, when he was led down to the holding cells in court, said that he will appeal the sentence and that he will see his children again because he loves his children. But I don't think that will happen, because the judge said that the psychological report must be sent to jail and it must be put on his record in jail that, he's been diagnosed as a psychopath and a sadist.
The 6 men charged with attempted murder and kidnapping during recent violent protests in the Boitumelong township of Bloemhof have been released on bail of 1,000 rand each.
The community picketed outside the Bloemhof Magistrates Court, calling for the release of the men known to be local taxi drivers. Olebegeng Gotsilinswe has been following the story.